Technology Tutorial, a student's guide to GeoGebra basics. Before we start, let's talk about the technology requirements needed in order to use GeoGebra. GeoGebra has an online version and also an offline version. You can download and install it onto your computer for free. If you choose to use the online version and you use Google Chrome as your browser, you might experience difficulty in viewing the full menu when you are using the construction tools. To avoid this issue, you might want to use other browsers such as Firefox or Microsoft Edge so that you can see every single tool in the menu. Part 1, Layout and Menu. At the left-hand side, you can see 3 lines as a symbol. That's the main menu that covers general options. Okay, so the general functions are listed there. We have a calculator symbol and it says algebra underneath. This is for entering actual points and equations directly onto the Cartesian grid. If you use the tools that are underneath to draw something, you can also go back to this algebra view to check the information of your drawing. So the algebra function is usually used for graphing relations and functions. The tools is for constructing objects with or without the Cartesian grid. So you can draw something without knowing the coordinates. So we usually use this function for measurement and geometry. And there's a third picture down there that says table. We will talk about that later in this video. Let's look at the middle part of our picture. Okay, there is an arrow with a curve. This is the undo button. It means you can go back one step and remove something that you have drawn, usually drawn by mistake or something that you decide not to draw. Once you have undone something, you will see another button next to it, and the arrow is going towards the right and it's still a curve. It's the redo button so that you can draw that same thing again. So you can remove it, and then once you remove it, you can add it back in without drawing it from scratch. At the right-hand side, you'll see more symbols. There's the settings symbol, where you can change the details of everything that you have drawn, including if you want to show the grid lines or not. Okay, the axes can also be hidden. That's where you can find the settings. And you can change the colors of the things that you have drawn as well. At the bottom right-hand corner, you see magnifying glasses and something that looks like a square. These are the view options. So the magnifying glass with an addition symbol means zoom in. And then the magnifying glass with the subtraction symbol means zoom out. And then we have the full screen option as well. Once you have clicked the full screen options, you'll see 2 more options available. Standard view is a house as a symbol, and you will also see exit full screen as an option. Let's look at the general menu. If you click those 3 lines, then you will see the same screen as I do. Okay, the first item says clear all, which means you can remove everything that you have drawn and start a new page. You can choose open, which means you have to save something first. Let's say you saved something in the past and you want to open that file now to continue working on it. So when you're saving, you need to use your email address. You can use your school email account or your personal email account to save the files. And then once you have saved them, you are able to share them with somebody. Okay, and then you need to copy the link that they give you after you have saved the file, and then you can share with somebody. So make sure that if it's schoolwork, you have to save the graph or the construction before sharing the link with your instructor. Okay, so new users, they tend to submit a link with a blank page because they forget to save the files using the student email address first. And then they end up sending their instructor a link to a blank GeoGebra page, and they didn't realize that it's blank. When the teacher emails them and asks them to submit the link, they say, oh, I did already. Okay, so before you submit the link, please check that you're seeing from that link what you are supposed to be seeing. Okay, otherwise you might be unhappy with your mark if there's deduction from things not submitted. Now there's another issue when students submit the work. Some students, they want to use export image or download as before submitting the file to their teacher. Sometimes the file that was exported or downloaded, there are some parts of the drawing missing. Once again, once you have downloaded those images, open it on your computer and check that you can see everything before sending them to your teacher. This is the algebra view. Okay, so if you look at the page, you can see that I have drawn two objects. So if I enter y equals to 3x plus 2 into GeoGebra, the machine gives me f as an extra item there. Why? Because f is the name of this equation. So it's equation f, and the actual equation is y equals to 3x plus 2. And for the second one, if I enter a point, if I type in open bracket 3, 2, and close bracket, the machine gives me a equal to that point. Because once I have typed the coordinates, the machine will give the point a name for me. So okay, everything has a name on GeoGebra. So we have to be able to read what it means. Okay, so for equations, they give us small letters. F is a small letter. And then if it's a point, A is capital letter. And there's also colors involved. Okay, so you see a green circle and a blue circle. The line itself on the graph is green, and then the point is blue in color. If you go into settings, you can change the colors, and that's an option. So let's talk about what that green circle does. If I click on the green circle, then it will hide the line and making it invisible. Try clicking it and you would notice that the circle becomes a white circle. It means the object on the graph is now hidden. So if you want to see it again, click on the circle one more time and it will show up. The same thing with the point. You can hide it or you can make it visible. At the right-hand side, next to the equation and next to the point, you see these three vertical dots. If you click on it, it will give you a few options. Okay, so there's something that you can choose from and do things to the point or to the line. So let's choose the line to work on. If I click on the three dots for the line, I will see a new pop-up window. It says table values, special points, duplicate input, delete, and settings. If you don't like your line, at this point you can click on delete and remove it totally. If you click on table of values, you will have a new pop-up window asking you a few details. Once you have answered it, it will generate a table of values for you. And then after that, you can click on this table symbol at the left-hand side of the menu, and you'll be able to see this table that you made. before you create this table of values, clicking that symbol won't show you anything extra. You cannot enter a table of values manually by clicking on that table. And if you click on settings, then it's the same thing as clicking on the symbol at the upper right hand corner. So next, let's look at tools. Once you have clicked on tools, the page in the middle will change to a lot of options. Okay, we have basic tools, edit, etc. If you scroll down, you'll be able to see the word more. If you don't see it, it means you're not seeing the whole thing. And if you're using Google Chrome, that might be the reason. And this is when you want to try to use a different browser so that you can see the option more and click on it so that you can see everything within the tools menu. Basic tools. Right now, there are 7 different tools available, and the word move is the only one that is in black. Why? Because when the tool is chosen, the word underneath the symbol is going to become black in color. The other options, the other tools, the words are going to be in gray because they are not chosen right now. This is how you can tell which tool you have chosen. Choose the Move tool once you have finished drawing something and want to change the settings. Because if you don't, you might notice that you end up drawing extra things unintentionally. And then you have to either use the undo button or the delete option to get rid of them. Under Edit, we have Select Objects, Move Graphics View, Delete. You can also go here to delete something. Show or hide the label, show or hide an object, and copy visual style. There is a media option, which means you can add an image. You can upload from your machine, from your device, onto GeoGebra. You can add a text box and type some words, okay, a paragraph, okay, or a sentence into your work. The measure option lets you measure angles, measure distance or length, measure area, measure the slope, and draw an angle with a given size. So some drawings must be on the page first before you can use the measure option. Points. We can draw a point. We can draw a point of intersection. We can draw a point on an object. We can also attach or detach a point from something else. We can also identify extremum within a function. We can find the roots of a function. We can also enter complex numbers, and we can also include a list. Construct. You can draw midpoint or center. So you need 2 points before you can draw a midpoint. You can draw a perpendicular line if you have a point and a line as a reference. You can draw something called a perpendicular bisector. You can draw parallel lines if you have a point and a line for reference. You can draw something called an angle bisector. You can draw tangent lines to a circle, and you can draw locus. Under the lines option, you can draw line segments. You can draw a line. You can draw a different kind of line called array. You can draw vectors. You can draw a segment with given length. You can draw a vector from a point. You can draw polar or diameter line, and you can also draw polylines. For polygons, if you have a few points, you can draw a polygon. You can also draw regular polygons, vector polygons, and rigid polygons. For circles, you can draw a circle with a center specified, You can draw something called a compass. You can draw a semicircle. You can draw a circle with given center and radius. You can also draw a circle that goes through 3 specific points. You can draw a circular arc. You can draw a circumcircular arc. You can draw a circular sector, and you can also draw a circumcircular sector. For the conics option, you can draw an ellipse. You can draw a conic that goes through 5 specific points. You can draw a parabola, and you can also draw a hyperbola. Transform. So this means you can perform transformation to points that are drawn already. So you can reflect something about a line. You can reflect them about a point. You can translate them by a vector. You can rotate an object around a point. You can dilate the objects from a point, and you can also reflect something about a circle. Other options. So there's a pen tool for you to write something. There's a freehand shape tool for you to draw. There's also relation tool, a button that you can add. You can add a checkbox as well. And there's also input box available. This is the end of the introduction to GeoGebra. Thank you for watching.